Not yet.
Not 6:30 yet. Are you the official
It's
time?
6:30.
All right. You're the official timekeeper, okay? Call the meeting to order with the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
President Howell,
Present.
Councilman Sutton,
Here.
Vice President Huber.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Correspondence. Appointments needed, Planning Commission. I believe we have someone that's volunteering for that tonight. We'll get down to it later in the thing. Traffic Commission, we got anybody? BZA, one for Town Council. We have 2 openings on the Town Council. Approval of minutes, March 5th, 2026 regular meeting.
Make a motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The March 30th special meeting, that was regarding the wastewater plant.
Motion.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Officers' reports.
Planning Commission, no report. BZA, no report. Traffic Commission, no report. Park Board,
We'll definitely have a meeting this month.
Animal Control, I was told there was no report. And Blake will give the Building Commissioner's report.
Alrighty, so for the month of March, there was 2 driveway permits given, 3 contractor registrations filled out, 1 remodel, 1 accessory building, 1 electrical upgrade, 1 roof, coming out to a total of $1,095.65. That's all I've got for you.
Everything else good?
Yes, sir.
All righty, thank you. For treasurer's report.
Personnel Committee, Committee, no report. Facilities Coordinator, no report. Nursing, no report. And other, no report.
Public Works report.
I only have a couple of things. This month, we're gonna flush hydrants this month. We intend to do it the week of the 20th, so we'll get the notification out there, get it on the board so everybody knows. We usually don't have any trouble with discolored water, but just so you know. The only other thing I had for this meeting was, we're gonna see if we can rent a sweeper for a week and try to do some sweeping, especially in the curved areas, but other areas downtown and everything. It's been a couple of years, 2 or 3 years since we rented one, so I'm in the process of trying to do that in May, and we'd have it for a week. So other than that, that's all I got right now. I think we covered everything else in the last meeting.
Okay, anything with on the filter?
Not yet.
Okay.
I passed that information on to Lou, and he's working to get us some prices
Good.
on the filter media. So as soon as I know that, I'll let you know.
Okay.
We'll go from there. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. New business, we have a boring permit. Order installations, that's out at the Stone Yard. You guys are okay with it? It's just, it looks like it's to do electric and surf air to the business.
Motion.
Well, you look at the whole thing.
It's filled out correctly, and they're trying to make changes to it, like another company did.
Oh, did they?
So we're good to go.
On this one,
The only addition on that last picture they sent today, I don't know if they had a chance to give that to you, but that was just another picture that they wanted to add.
Oh, but we're still fine.
Okay.
Okay. Are you making a motion?
Motion.
You second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Well, we have a brave soul here that said they'll go on the planning commission, so, Mr. Messer? Your address is,
307 Consumption
so
Street.
you live in the town of Wanata, so that's a good thing.
Ross.
Okay. Any questions? I'm very happy that he's stepping up and gonna do it, so. We have a motion.
Motion.
Second. All's in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, sir.
It's a lifetime commitment, right?
At least that, it's the beginning. It sticks with you beyond that, yeah. Evan Marsh.
All right. Got my stuff here. We're here to discuss the project with JSD.
And you are who?
Steve Ruby with Avalanche Consulting. Sorry, apologize there. We're at 315 West Jefferson in South Bend, Indiana. We have an owner representative here, Chance Dodds, as well. We're currently working with them on a rail line extension for the property, east of town here. Part of the development is going to be an extension of rail line service to expand their operations. From that, we also want to discuss with you, I think this was previously discussed, but there was conversations regarding the water line extension, I think a couple years ago, back in 2024. And we want to inquire about actually doing a well in lieu of the water line extension. And there's several reasons for that. One, their operation doesn't demand a very large water use. They're looking to put in a basic office supply, and then there's some simple dust control mitigation that's required as part of their operation. So it's got a low-level irrigation from that. But the second thing is, there's a pretty extensive, from my understanding, the line has to be extended roughly 2,700 feet. The line also, depending on the size, I don't know the exact service size that is out there, but I was told that it was located at Casey's currently. I'm not sure if that is an 8-inch, 10-inch service line. That's a question.
It's a 6-inch main, it's a main line,
Okay,
so it'd be extending the water main.
okay. So even with the 6-inch line, there's a pretty extensive cost associated to that, to the tune of $280,000, maybe $300,000 from our estimate, plus engineering costs. There's some other challenges there with that. In the short term, I don't know how long it would take to get it, but there's possibly easements that need to be acquired. It can't be ran into right of way. It runs parallel to a sanitary sewer line that runs across the front of the property or the north side of the property.
So you have to be 10 feet away from that.
It gotta be 10 feet per 10 state standards, correct? There's also concerns by doing that, it's also gonna probably damage parking lots in front of, I think, of the carpentry, I forget the name of the business exactly.
Continental.
Continental, thank you. But there could be some impacts to the parking lot there because of the excavation to get 5 feet in depth over that line at a minimum. So the costs just keep adding up for an operation that may use 1.5 to 2 inch service at most. The other questions that come into line is, obviously they're gonna, if they were to extend it, there would be cost implications for anybody to connect to it. What are those payback periods? What are the contract commitments for that? If they're taking on a big extension and other people can, or other businesses, so to speak, can benefit from that, where's the reciprocating expenses to tie back to that? So, again, there's a lot of things that need to be discussed with this, that we think at this time, we would propose to do a well with the understanding maybe in the long term, if water line extensions were to happen, and or agreements worked out, that they would connect at that that point in time. But it's a pretty big ask for a corporation to extend the line 25 to 2,700 linear feet and absorb that cost up front without having some type of plan in place long-term. So open to discussion, but the short-term ask is to allow a well. But obviously the well would dictate location of building, with buildings and separation. Anytime you do a commercial well, there are those parameters that we gotta follow from Indiana Department of Environmental Management standpoint, depending on what those separations are. So it's pretty critical to the site plan development as we move forward with this. But from a cost standpoint, I'll let Chance speak to that as well from the business operations, so let you jump in there.
Yeah, I mean, so just really from a cost perspective for us, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense for us to keep moving forward if we have to spend $280,000+ just to get water to run a few bathrooms. Yeah, I mean, there's really not a whole lot more to be said about it for us.
You're gonna hook into the sewer system, right?
Yes, sir. That is the plan as of right now, because we are required to do that.
Yeah.
So why would you need an 1.5 or 2 inch service for 2 bathrooms?
It would be to allow for the dust mitigation. So as part of their operation, obviously they're driving trucks, running up and down. Part of the requirements are to keep that mitigation of the dust down to the level that it's acceptable, and you can expand upon the air quality.
Yeah, so in the state of Indiana, like when we go to get our environmental permit for dust and everything, they take into account the amount of like gravel yard that we have. And so part of that is, and we're not fully set on having a gravel yard at this point, depending on either permitting or cost. We could be going with the concrete drive too. But if we go forward with a gravel yard over the entire property, we'd like to have sprinklers and stuff to help keep the dust down, especially in the drier months and with the high wind that it is here.
So the original proposed site plan that was presented to the Plan Commission 2 years ago, is that no longer in the vision of Equilibrium Catalyst?
If it's the site plan that I'm thinking of, it is. We've just never really fully figured out which way we're gonna go, whether it's a gravel yard or a concrete at this point.
So you're gonna have access, you'll have the access road going to 30 and eliminate what's going on back there. Okay.
I mean, we'd ideally like to keep that as just like a backup and keep it maintained, obviously, like where it comes out on,
900.
yes, I'm sorry. But we will have the main access road that goes up to 30.
I think you were at the Plan Commission meeting when this was all discussed too, right? Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping the water line is not a surprise, considering that was discussed at the Plan Commission meeting, and I thought in great detail. I think there was a mention of a well and that was it, but I think it was pretty specific when we discussed it, but I don't think we could put any sort of stipulations on the zoning change for that, but I think that just comes to this board, am I not correct?
I believe so.
So, but I mean, I think we need to understand that this, I'm assuming this shouldn't come to some surprise that the town of Wanata likes the water main installed at some time or another.
I mean, it was further my understanding, because I believe Dennis Kowalczyk was at that
He was at that.
meeting.
He was at both the meetings.
Yeah, and it was my understanding that he knew that the event for the utility for the water and stuff got tabled, I believe.
Not that I'm aware of.
So the meeting, there's some discrepancies, I'll stand up here. The discrepancies that we see meeting minutes in August. And we see acknowledgement of a potential water line. And it was discussed. What we don't know is the following meeting minutes, when it got tabled, what the follow-up was to that. There's no record from my location, and what we understand of it, that has been documented. So.
Well, I think it was documented in that first meeting that it was discussed and that they wanted to see that
There's no conclusion in the minutes that I have in my record. So there's a big gray area that we're seeing.
Well, I understand that because I don't think the plan commission could have done that anyway, but now you're now you're probably looking at the three guys that do make that decision.
And it's, you know, we just don't have a clarification. The other challenge, this is a big cost for one developer to absorb without some type of partnership going forward. There's gonna be.
So you're basically, you're saying, okay, we put it in and you put a 20-year, you put a 20-year, 10-year, whatever, if somebody ties into it, they can recoup part of the money.
That would be, I think, some of the agreement, understanding what the costs are. And then down the road, others.
I don't think that's not, I think that's fair.
That's very fair.
And in the short term, I mean, the bigger question is how long can it take, or will it take to get this stuff in line? There's easements that's gotta be obtained or right away, not necessarily right away, excuse me, land acquisition. There's other things like that has to take place. In the short term, though, they're going to build. Where do we go with this in the short term? Because it could take a couple of years to go through.
Sure.
That. I think
Yeah.
we know that process.
Can we put a timetable on a well? Can we say, okay, well, we would allow you to put a well in but by the certain date, you need to be tied into a city water system?
I think that should be contingent upon whatever agreements are. set
I understand.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think we don't want to be unfair about this.
Yeah, correct.
But you also got to understand,
Oh, yeah.
we got business out here that when the water system was put in when was it, 78, that they didn't want to tie into the system, so we're 50 years later, and we still don't have water where it should have been 50 years ago. So, and that doesn't help the town of Wanata.
So I guess some of the questions we'll have to get ironed out with this, is when are there gonna be forced connections with other businesses as it's being brought down so that payback is almost immediate, or a payment plan?
I'm gonna ask Chuck about that, because the only way they can get water to any of those services, if water's in front, they gotta tie into the water. If there's a main there, correct?
There's only one active customer out there right at the moment, and that's the Casey. Well, Casey's is on, but the factory is the only other one you're gonna go past. So right now.
So the Continental would be the only other addition
Continental would be
right
the only
now.
one. Now, it's not mandatory that they hook up.
Right.
They've always expressed interest, all the companies that have been in there have expressed interest because they fall under the IDEM non-community water system, which requires them to have a certified operator to run that because they have too many employees. But, you know, I'm getting a lot of information from that Casey's property. I just talked to Dave Erickson yesterday regarding the 24 acres. They are actively trying to sell that 24 acres. And they've also inquired about the water, and I've indicated to them too that it would require an extension for them. So I know he said he had a couple clients interested in that property. So there's a lot of activity out there now. I've been out to the factory too. They've got a pretty big mess out there as well with their water system. So, but I don't know if this goes farther, maybe there could be a consortium of.
So are you guys willing to look into that?
I mean, I think we could generally consider it, but $300,000+ is a lot of money for a couple bathrooms at the end of the day.
Well, I don't think anybody's saying that we're not gonna consider the well.
Yeah, no, and I really hope you do.
Well, I hope you guys tie into the water too.
I think part of the issue here is I think this is almost part of a bigger plan approach that.
I agree.
That needs to take place. You know, if it was a developer developing residential lots and they can spread it out over 100 lots, that makes a big difference. Here we're talking 2 or 3, you know, it's a big add, you know, if there's 3 customers or 4, and then down the road, I mean, is it prorated back through? Those are all things, that's above my level of agreements that I'm used to dealing with, but I'm sure.
Should you guys do I mean, you guys, this ain't your first rodeo.
No, we would typically ourselves explore what it's gonna take to install it. get the proposal. Obviously, somebody's gotta pay for all that extra work too, so I'm assuming that would be lumped into the cost of what's gonna be spread out amongst the user group. Then we can certainly look at that, but in the meantime, it's this group, and ownership that's fronting that. And they're the ones that have
Sure.
the payback, so that's
Sure.
the real question I think we have to get answered.
I think it's, your concerns are understandable and reasonable, but you also gotta understand that 2 years ago,
Yeah.
things were discussed and all of a sudden, kind of the plans have obviously changed. I mean, you come in with a nice drawing, this is what we're planning on doing and this and that and the other thing, and now we got possibly a gravel drive. So,
So 2 years ago, were you thinking you were gonna have to hook up to the sewer or the water?
We didn't know.
You didn't know, but that had to have been in the back of your mind somewhere knowing this, I would certainly think.
A lot of times in development though, in those situations, sometimes if sewer's not there, septic is allowed, there's always exceptions,
Sure.
unfortunately. I wasn't present at that meeting unfortunately, but, I have tried to track down some of the correspondence and we appreciate, everybody digging into that for us. But again, there was some gray area in there and that's what we're trying to figure out, how to get this packaged up. And maybe if it is distributed amongst a prorated linear foot cost and frontage or future connections.
and you can put a time limit on it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that's
I think from
unreasonable.
their perspective, obviously, they can do an operation for 10 more years and then sell out. Are they gonna get that cost back if they would sell out? Those are the terms and stuff that we've gotta get figured out and agreed upon. So either working through their attorneys and the town to figure those pieces out. That's I think where our next steps are. Now in the short term, if they're wanting to really get going, if we can get a well maybe in a short term and then with the understanding that the disconnect happened, obviously that's an investment. But you can put in wells at, probably 15 to 20,000 to get their operation up and running.
Sure.
And then disconnect. So that's a lot more manageable task in the short term than extension of line, which could take a couple of years to do. So I guess, long story short, the infrastructure and groundwork isn't set in place for them to do it immediately, and they're looking to do their yard more immediate.
So what else is gonna do will be on that site?
So originally, right now, our plans are we're kind of parsing through a lot of that, but our first stage that we want to go through is put I think it's about an 8,000 square foot shop for USA to Bus to work on their trucks and anything out there. And then a part of that first stage is also putting, 4,000 feet of rail?
4,000 feet of rail,
4,000 feet of rail
two
out
lines.
there. And then we may want to put another office building out there right now. We have long-term plans if business keeps growing the way that we're anticipating and hoping it does, that we put probably about a 30,000, 45,000 square foot warehouse out there. Besides that, there's really not any other buildings that we're anticipating at this point.
Well, that's a lot of buildings, sounds to me like.
Yeah. And a lot of it's the warehousing, it's a little different use, so fire needs and water needs probably aren't there. It's still 1 to 2 bathrooms at most each one of those facilities, if it's a non-firing material.
Yeah, and our products, I'm sure Dennis went through this with you on the past. We actually just built a warehouse somewhere else and it's a class 2 warehouse. We don't need any fire suppression because all of our material is basically it's fancy clay, dirt at the end of the day, and it doesn't catch on fire or anything like that.
How many employees do you have out there that you're planning on having out there?
So our site in Louisiana, I would akin it very much to this site, and ideally within about 5 years, we would have probably about 20 to 30 employees if things keep going the way we hope.
Okay.
You guys plan on using a water buffalo to fill up for your dust control?
I do not know what that is.
It's a truck that has a tank on the back, a water tank.
The anticipated design was using a sprinkler system.
So part of the site development obviously is to deal with stormwater as well. So we're gonna be digging basins too. Some of the thought is if we could not get water to the site in a fashion that's acceptable, is that we excavate the basin to the water table and pump for the irrigation needs there. Obviously, that's contingent upon dry periods. Depending on when that water table is, they can fluctuate. We just have to explore that a little bit more with the geotechnical side of things here. But there is an option to do the dust control pumping through, since it's a non-potable water source. We don't intend to drink it. We could use that to keep dust control down as well. Exactly. That's still an option. It could also be still from the municipal source as well. But we are exploring some different options for that if the site lends itself to that. And we're still going through some of the exploratory geotechnical work, working with the rail line. We got other sub-consultants that are helping us map out where the rail's gonna go, what the grade's gonna be, as we develop it. So some of that's still a little bit unknown as we get into the engineering side of things. But we do need to try to answer this water question because that's gonna drive how the site's designed.
Did you have a question, Charlie?
How big a well are you proposing to put in?
Honestly, a 4-inch can do it as long as the zones are correct, but on a commercial level, we'll probably have to go 6. Just my code.
I mean, if they're receptive, I mean, I understand their dilemma, they want to move ahead.
I
They need to
understand
well
too.
move ahead, but as long as the door doesn't shut for the extension, I mean, I can do my due diligence. I mean, I've talked to Casey's people at this point. If that property sells, that compromises 1,300 feet of that extension.
Yeah.
Is just Casey's property. And there's 643 feet of active, I call it, that factory, and then they've got the smaller amount. But if, obviously, if Casey's buyer is receptive, just getting it that far, maybe we could put a consortium of the factory, Casey's, and them together at some point.
I
You guys
agree. I think that would be my thought. Exactly.
I've got contacts, and I know the easements and those things, I realize the dilemma. I think that's a line that if it went in, it would be nice if you could just directional bore it.
Yeah.
And I talked to Doug at Bore it, and he's right, that just the directional boring without materials, not engineering, not fire hydrants, nothing, was about $100,000.
Right.
And that's for only a 6-inch line, so, yeah.
And
But
we weren't sure totally the line size. We knew that Casey's had something across from it. Having a 6-inch does help tremendously. A lot of industrial zoning though, as you go forward, is much larger.
Yeah.
So to really entice an industrial customer, that's the question the town needs to ask themselves.
Yep.
Do we want to go to this larger size? Can your infrastructure support that?
Yeah.
And will that help lure future businesses as this area develops? So lots of questions to be answered here. I'm not expecting a decision tonight, obviously,
Right.
but open to entertaining a temporary solution so they can get their operations going. They pump truck wash, truck repair pieces. There's some type of wash facility tied to the rail line itself. That is a recirculating system, so minimal water use there, and that effluent that comes off of that is actually trucked off and treated in a separate facility. So that would be going into the sewer system itself because of the nature of what's being washed off of the trucks and vehicles. But outside of that, understanding where wells can go and where this infrastructure will be planned for makes a big difference in how we set the site design up.
Sure.
So, but we just appreciate your time. I don't think I have any further questions myself, but as we look to move forward, we'd like to entertain that as an option.
Do we want to put this on the agenda for next meeting?
I think tentatively, I'm not sure what we're gonna have to discuss at that point in time, but
Okay.
if
I mean, how soon do you want a permission for a well?
I mean,
Reasonable.
ideally, we'd like to start construction on at least the shop, and the rail as soon as possible. Obviously, it's been kind of weather dependent the last couple months, but
essentially, as soon as we can get plans in place, understanding whether we have a well or not. If we have a well and we can plan for that now, we can get plans completed into you folks for approvals, into the different agencies for erosion control approvals, things like that. If it's a well, that takes a little bit of time because IDEM has to send somebody out to site the well with you on site. So there's a little bit of a lead time for an activity with a well. The remaining pieces, as far as line extension, obviously that's gonna take much longer, a couple of years potentially. It could be as fast as a year, it really depends on how the agreements, how the contracts and all the prices and numbers come in.
I mean, I'm not necessarily opposed to the well, I just don't want a well there for the next 20 years.
And I don't think
It's
that's,
temporary.
I don't think that's a desire as well.
But I guess what we need to do is you guys need to come back and say, this is our overall vision of what we're gonna do here, or some sort of drawing or something that, because we've already got one, and obviously that's not gonna be it. So I think it's kind of unfair for the town of Wanata that we need to understand what's gonna be there too.
Yeah, so we'll probably come back with some assumptions as to where that well would be located. I mean, we have to start someplace. It's a chicken and the egg thing a little bit. So we could show something as a starter point to this, get the conversation going, and then look at what other agreements and stuff has to take place.
Did you have something, Chuck?
I don't, except I think I sent the actual ordinance for the well to Matt. And if you got to saw it, it just says you have to file an application, which we don't really have. Usually it's just a,
That was my next question.
yeah.
Do we have the application or permission, or is this just a written letter?
I think just a written letter is, we don't actually have a permit application form for that.
And I think that's because wells typically go through their own permitting application to IDEM. That's
All I know is you guys have to vote on it and approve the installation of a well. I think the intent back in 1978 was that nobody would ever get a permit to put a well in because they would force you into the municipal, but that's unique out there.
I did notice out there, I don't know if you guys are aware of, but I'm assuming that there was a well permit pulled for the irrigation of the farm field to the west.
Yes, yes.
So there was a well put in last year,
Sure.
Well, the area, that falls under different,
so I'm not sure,
with the irrigation, yeah.
Yes.
I'm not sure what that's.
That's not the same, yeah.
It's probably not the only one that's gotten me better though.
Yeah.
There again, I don't
You may
think
fight them
we
guys.
would have, we would have, wanted to irrigate somebody's field with our municipal water.
And probably similar approach, there may be an ask for a meter for irrigation, if we do connection later versus potable. I don't know if you guys have different rates for that or not. A lot of municipalities do,
Well, you only get billed on sewage.
Yeah,
so, yeah, exactly. So I don't know if Wanata has that or not, but
We don't. The well was supposed to be metered.
Yeah.
yeah.
And we always that gray area between irrigation and domestic use.
That's a discussion, we'll have to have a discussion on that too.
We may have to, especially if they're using it.
and I think you see where I'm going with this.
No,
If you put a well down, can
You could see a $5,000 a month bill for sewage that, you know, you're putting 3,000 gallons to the wastewater. And it's not necessarily fair that you supplement the,
Correct.
with that amount of water.
But yeah, when you guys, if you do the well, then you need to get a hold of us to make sure it gets metered properly.
Correct.
So we know what to do.
So,
Meter to the inside facilities, I guess.
Yeah, the domestic.
so, lots of things to sort out, but
No,
really,
that's fine.
time, I know that from a business standpoint, it's a big ask for them.
Sure.
Especially, that's, I think you said, that was a good portion of the cost of the land that they bought
Yeah.
originally. So, if the business decisions, they want to stay, they want to do things here, and we've been here a number of years now. But, you know, from a business standpoint, if it makes sense, they have to leave, they have to leave. So we certainly don't want that. They don't want that. They got a lot of investment tied here, so we just want to make sure we come to some reasonable affair.
That's fine.
And make sure it's right for everybody else that's gonna be connecting to it.
May I ask one more question?
Yes, sir.
Your entrance for 30.
Yes.
That seemed to be a gray area too. Have you guys acquired the property in front of?
That was part of the stipulations when we bought it from the smokers.
Yes.
That they went and purchased that side, we have half the driveway to the east.
Yes.
East. So we haven't moved the fence yet, but that is under ours, and we have a letter from IDOT allowing us to have.
Okay, so they didn't allow you to upgrade the agricultural entrance then, they forced you to go.
They were very adamant
You guys understand what he's saying?
Yeah,
And the state's giving you the okay, I'm surprised.
We have the NDOT letter,
Yeah.
saying that they can use that drive, for their service.
Yes. Okay, I was just curious, I just noticed that and I thought, NDOT is basically designing a commercial project through Wanacog.
So we do have that letter from NDOT saying that that is okay to use. It's not the agricultural one, correct? It's the commercial one. And that's reasons they've asked for that was because of limited
I
access.
scratched my head when Greg told me he had that all worked out. Gosh, how did he do that? So now I understand, okay.
But yes, we do have that in hand, so. Any other questions?
I don't think so.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you.
We'll work towards a direction of the plan so we can get some feedback. We'll look at what that plan may be for the easements, so we can get exhibits put together, at least for the conversation we started between, the ownership along that corridor. And I'm assuming, just putting this out there for clarification, that you'll want the water line extended to the east side of their property, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then from there, it's the next business entities,
Correct.
piece of this. All right, just.
Can you leave some cards too, please?
Yes,
If you would.
absolutely. Thank you.
Sir?
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Sharon.
Thank you.
All right, establish a bid date to proceed on the wastewater plant. Do we have an idea what date we want to do that?
I think Lou, when he was here, he wanted you guys to review the equipment purchases.
Yeah.
Solidify that by signing the purchase orders so that when you do the bid, the contractors will know what equipment you're gonna have for that. So remember, we were gonna set up a special meeting to, remember you guys wanted to, he was gonna call some people and make sure we got all the bids in and then, you guys just need to sign those purchase agreements. Then he said like end of the month, but I'm not sure if that put us back because you guys still have to sign those and requisition the equipment.
I remember he was asking, and I think that's where we need to go from there, is get that stuff and get it signed.
Yeah, he was gonna send up
So we need to have a special meeting?
well, and that's what you guys said originally, you wanted to.
That's right, because we couldn't make it, because we knew we couldn't make it. So when we're not doing it, when will he have all his stuff?
I think he figured, he made a few phone calls, I talked to him the other day. He was hoping that maybe Sanitaire would put in a bid, and, I think you indicated you wanted to maybe call West Tech or something.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay, but I think he'll be pretty well set. If you guys schedule a meeting, he'll just make sure it's all ready to
Is
go.
next week too soon, you think? Well, when do we need how much time do you need to post?
14 hours.
Oh, whatever.
I think you could set it up for next week. I would
14
call him, let
hours.
him know.
Do it next week and get it going, huh?
What day, Wednesday?
You're gonna have it evening or
I just have it
during the day?
3:30, 3
Yeah,
o'clock.
because it's probably just gonna be signing the paperwork, but then after that's done, then I think, we set the bid date. Maybe you should set a bid date and then see if he can comply with it. If it doesn't work, we can always change it. But I do believe he did say before the end of the month. Didn't he say something like April 30th or May 1st?
I mean, I'm okay with that too.
I thought that's kind of what he indicated, if things move along.
Yeah.
They could do it.
Because we didn't want to go past, we really want to get past that.
He was gonna make a few phone calls to get a feeling with Bowen and them, how they feel about it, so.
Yeah, okay.
Otherwise, set a date for,
I mean, we can set a date, we gotta set a date for next week and we still might as well set the bid, well,
I would do that, and then I'll just let him know if it doesn't work.
we want to,
I can't do it Wednesday.
okay, what day?
Tuesday or Thursday would be best. Thursday then. You're saying time?
What time's good for you?
Like you did before, like 2:00, 2:30 is like that.
2:30? That's fine, we can do
So
that,
that's gonna be next Thursday.
sure.
Thursday?
I hope I don't have anything going on.
And then this is for the special meeting or for the bid date?
It's for the special meeting,
Special meeting.
and then the bid date, we just wanna do April 30th.
Let's try it.
Brody, can you make it that day too?
I have a jury trial,
Oh,
so
April 30th,
Well, you'd rather be here, wouldn't you?
I would actually.
2:30 again on April 30th is the plan.
You said 2:30?
Yeah, is that what
Yeah.
we're saying?
That's fine with me, yeah. You okay with that? I'm retired.
Anytime during breakfast, lunch or dinner.
All right, there you go.
Check with my wife for my house duties too. Both of them.
Unfinished business, none. Financial report and claims approval. Any questions? We have a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Is there any other business to discuss? Any public comments? None from our South Central kids? We could put you on the spot, come on.
We made some labor for you guys to do our line fine.
Yeah, there you go.
Help lower the cost. Got a lot of friends at school.
Hey, I can't do that.
No other comments? We have a motion to adjourn? Motion. Second? All's in favor?
Aye.
Thank you everyone for attending.
I was thinking, Brody.
What's that?
I slept when I got home tonight. I fell asleep.
I got some SPs.
My fault.